Welcome to the podcast with Alex Rodriguez and Ron Williams. Hey! They talk about the Orange County music scene from the past to the present and the future. Today we're talking about the Orange County rock with a twist of lemon compilation. We welcome Todd MacKenzie to talk about the band Awake and their songs by and Slate Grey. This is a tribute to Mark Rhodes and all of his great music. We welcome back Bill Holmes to talk about their band Channel and play drums with her own hands. Now please welcome Todd and Bill for a great conversation remembering Mark. And here they are now.
Let's talk about your days in playing for Mark Rhodes, Todd MacKenzie, and the band, or a project if you want to call it, Channel, and talk about the 2003 Orange County Music Awards, which, by the way, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know they gave awards to bands. It'd be nice, except besides the Grammys. So why don't you talk about your days back then, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so back then, Channel, we actually did really well. I mean, it grew. That's another project that actually grew pretty fast. It was more industrial. Todd was doing more of the producing of the tracks with his keyboard and, creating the drum tracks and looping tracks. And so he had called me one day and he was like, "Hey, I know you can play to a click track. And we have a bunch of songs. We're not going to have a bass player. We're just going to do keyboard and guitar and vocals. But we want you as the drummer. We know you can do this." And so I got into it with them. Like I said, I started going down into Santa Ana and rehearsing with them. And we just got really good. And so we started playing all over LA. I think even Todd and Mark, I couldn't go, but I think they even went to the UK and did some touring over there, went to Scotland, I think. And they did.
No
they
kidding.
did
Wow.
Yeah. It was really receptive over there because the music over there, the scene's different, and they really liked it over there. Over here, we're still in the grunge and the rock, so it was still different. But we started playing the Key. I think we played the Key Club, the Viper Room, again, opening up for the Mission, the Chameleons, just all over. We were really doing well. And then in 2003, we got a call that we got nominated for Best Electric Rock Band out of OC. And we were like, wow, they have this?
No kidding.
Wow,
yeah,
this is neat. And it was at the Grove next to Anaheim Stadium there. And I got to tell you, that night was a special night. I bet. I knew it at the time, but even now I still think about that, because it was so unexpected. And at that time I had, we had been together for quite some time as friends and in bands. And so it was really surreal. It was almost like, wow, this is neat that we're actually getting, recognized but we really didn't think we were going to win. We thought, that, there's so many great bands at that time out there. And so we went to the Grove and, I thought we were actually there to play 2 songs.
Oh, so you got to perform too. Nice.
Yeah. We got to perform, and they had the cameras on us. I think Hughes Ned or somebody was there documenting it all. And of course, things went wrong for me because when we started playing, I think Todd had accidentally kicked the click track machine that he had. And so it had me on a whole different thing.
Oh, no.
And so I'm playing and they were looking at me and they didn't know. They thought that, like I was just crazy and I'm just, rocking out playing to the click. And so anyway, we got through it. Nothing ever goes perfect. You know how that is.
No, I do.
But we got, we won. And wow, what a time. We got interviewed by, I think, Spin Magazine at the time. We went backstage and they kind of had this like green room where we all sat around and they talked to only the winners. And we just really felt like we were on top of the world. We were like, wow, this is really something special here that we're onto. And they kind of validated us at the time.
So had you at that point, you recorded an album, or you were getting praise from your live shows? Or
it was the album.
Okay.
And live shows.
Is that still around, or do you have a copy of that CD anywhere? You got? I assume it was a CD because this was all pre-internet, pre-Napster.
We didn't do any. So.
Oh no, I guess this would have been post Napster, pre Spotify, pre YouTube for sure. Yeah,
we didn't have. The internet, we weren't even using it at the time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Barely.
Well, too bad. If you had a MySpace account back then, you probably would have had a whole new audience.
I think we started the MySpace thing, but by then, we were just ahead of the time and just kind of missed all that, But if we had it now and we were together now, I think we would have really gotten even further. It took a lot of our time to promote ourselves. We didn't have backing, so all the promoters and bookers in Orange County, like that, it was just all word of mouth and hearing about us and us playing shows and that's how we kind of built it back then in Orange County. So Orange County was really good to us back then.
So what venues did you play? I know you mentioned the Whiskey and Viper Room and the Roxy. Those are all up in LA.
We played a lot in we played the Galaxy Theater?
Okay, over in Costa Mesa. Yep.
Yeah, played there a lot.
That's a really nice venue. And actually they remodeled it and now it's called something else, but we'll do some venue review. Yeah, but obviously ownership has changed. Even Linda from the Doll Hut, we talked about her, and boy, I hope Linda's still around. But our practice rehearsal studio is right next to the Doll Hut, and Alex and I were having a practice here, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and a band from out of town shows up and say, "Hey, do you know how we can get into the Doll Hut?" And I'm like, I have no idea, man. Give me a time machine, I could take you back 25 years and I could, fiddle with the lock to get you in. But the Doll Hut is still there and they're still having bands. And people from all over the country know about the world famous, Doll Hut to come out and play. And they're still hosting bands there. But part of my retrospective is I moved away back in 2002. So I didn't even get a chance to see Channel play anywhere. I maybe would have stayed in touch with Mark if I had somehow been like in the music scene, but I think maybe I told you after the Compilation CD, I kind of got a job in computers and IT, left the music business, left the music industry, and just all I focused on was computers, 12 hours a day. You don't have time to go to gigs. Ironically speaking, now I could have afforded to be a drummer now that I had a job. You could pay for new equipment, you could pay for microphones, you could pay for PA systems, you could pay for travel. Having a job, well, to me it was either or. Either I had a job or I get to be a musician. I couldn't do both at the same time. And so I'd moved away to Kansas in 2002, so I wouldn't have been able to hear Channel. And so obviously, not obviously to you, but obviously to me, 14 years later I came back to Orange County in 2016 and everything had changed. Now the internet was a thing. Obviously, social media has become a thing. I wouldn't have been able to get a hold of you if it wasn't for Facebook and social media. But can you talk about what it would be like? Well, you're in a band now. So what is it like now trying to market yourself or find an audience? Are you using online really as your connection to the fans? Or are you kind of just relying on Ashley and her ability to advertise herself or promote herself? Where is she besides Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube? Do you guys have a mailing list? Back in the day, we had mailing lists. Do you text people and say, "Hey, we're going to be in your area"? How do you how do you connect with the fans, and how do they connect with you mostly?
Well, yeah. Well, there's always the Ashley Felton group thing, and then there's the individual me thing, right? So we kind of do both. But so Ashley's great at promoting herself and running it as a business and getting followers and just. And I'm just by default, I'm part of that, obviously. But for me, it's I reach out to people on social media. A lot of it's going out and when I'm playing shows and you're networking and talking to people and you're out in the scene.
So it's still the same. Nothing's changed in 30 years. Yeah,
same. The country scene. Every genre of music has its own cliquey thing, and there's always a hierarchy of such in the scene. There's bands that have been doing it longer than you, and so everybody has to be brought up through the channels of that. I
didn't remember a big country scene back in the day in the mid 90s. I think there was one place out by Disneyland that was a country bar that you could go to, and that was about it. Maybe I did see not Willie Nelson. I saw, who's the guy that plays Devil Went Down to Georgia?
No,
Charlie Daniels. I saw his band play right off 55 Freeway. There's a place over there that I saw his band. Not much for the country music back in the day, but
No, and it wasn't like that even. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
It wasn't. And even back then, I started getting into in my career. I started getting in after Channel and all that. I got into the reggae scene.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, so
Which
I
is a
got
slower version of ska, from what I understand.
right.
Ska was just a sped up version of reggae and country.
Right.
It was
ska,
wild. I loved the ska.
So ska came first.
Oh,
Believe it
did
or
it?
not.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah. So ska came first. Ska was kind of the original of reggae, and reggae came out of that back in the day. But it was, for me, it made sense. I was in a band called Inhale. I was in a band. There's a guy, he's still playing. He's out of Santa Ana. His name's Johnny Love.
Okay.
So I got into that scene and started. We played a lot in Orange County then.
Wow. No kidding.
It was like playing downtown Huntington Beach, Perks, Second Floor. We got signed to Solon Clothing and Inc. And they do they're like a collaborative of different companies, and they're from out of the Orange County area. And so we really represented the Orange County music scene for a while with the Sublime movement and with all of the reggae stuff. And that's where I really, playing Hurricanes, all that down in Huntington Beach, we just really had a blast. And that was really all that was happening. There wasn't really country. There wasn't really alternative bands anymore. It was either reggae or pop or hip hop. That was kind of the scene for a while. And I think country just recently, I would say in the last 10 years, maybe not even that, maybe even less, it started to get more popular. Just even with just the genre itself started getting more popular.
Well, and surf punk, ska, I mean, it's kind of all a mashup. Like, I was talking yesterday, my buddy, Jonathan Myers, who used to book shows at the Tiki Bar, used to book shows at Malone's in Santa Ana. And, he was big in the kind of the punk ska movement. He was best friends with the drummer from The Offspring growing up. So, in Orange High, I don't know if you went to Orange High, but they're, early days together at Orange High. But him and I were together at a place in Newport when we found out that Bradley from Sublime had passed. And that broke him. And I think all of Newport Beach, it was kind of that moment where the whole county felt what's going on here? Like, I think when Sublime lost him, I think there was kind of a ripple in the Orange County music. Like, that was kind of our first real rock star that died, like, on our watch. And so when I discovered, and not to bring this back to Mark, but I felt something the other night. Like, it was really, that's the first time I've really known someone who's passed. And Mark from Channel, from Awake, from Her Own Hands, he died in 2010, from what I understand, from an aneurysm. And it really shook me thinking that, these were my childhood friends. These bands became my buddy, and each member of the band was like my circle of friends, my circle of influence. So when you had a very close connection, obviously, with Mark, a lot closer than I was, I had a very small window with him, and I knew he was a special guy and a special talent. Can you maybe talk about your friendship with Mark, and then we'll maybe close it there?
Yeah, Mark. Mark was such a calm soul, but also full of rage and angst inside.
No kidding. Okay.
Which was great for him being a musician, because he would look at him and he looked just like a normal guy, but inside he was just a whole different person, which was a good thing really for me, because he would take this good boy persona that he had and he'd get on stage and just let it out. And it was really a contrast of what and so he just, he brought me in, being that he was so much older than me. He could see that I was obviously young and crazy and wild, but he liked that. But he was always the calm, kind of centered one in the group, always led it the right way, always wanted to be a prolific writer. I think he graduated college with a degree, with an English degree.
Okay.
And so he he really took writing very seriously, and his music that he wrote very seriously. And as I got older, I didn't really realize that when I was younger about his lyrics. I didn't, I was just more about the music. But as I got older and I started reading the lyrics and listening to his lyrics a little bit more, I can't believe how profound he was at that. He was so good, and did such a great job at it. And he was also in computers. He also, I think he did IT work and
Okay.
security
Very
work.
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he didn't like it. I remember him complaining a lot about it.
I loved hating it. I hated loving it. Or I don't know how that works.
I think he was the same. I think it's one of those jobs where it was just very mundane,
Okay.
very routine, and he, being in the rock world on the backside of it, it was hard for him to switch those gears. Which
I bet he put a lot of his angst in writing, though. Like, in other words, the outlet on stage. I've always found that, like, no matter what kind of mood I'm in, if I'm in the middle of a drum solo or if I'm really practicing hard, listening to either recorded music, playing along, I do find that my mind is only thinking about the music at that moment. Like, nothing else matters in the world. Like, it's a Zen moment of, like, let's just focus on right now, right here, right now. And
yeah,
I'm sure that's what Mark enjoyed probably most about writing and playing.
yeah, he was very much a guy that he would rather write and produce music more than actually perform it.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't mind performing. He loved it. I mean, it was a good way of putting it, but I think it was a little bit uncomfortable to be up there, to be exposed and to be vulnerable as he was.
Sure.
And we all were, really, but being a writer like he was, and he was very in tune with his feelings and with art. He loved art, and he just taught me a lot. He taught me just how to just listen to music and to not just follow whatever's popular,
Okay.
but to be authentic and organic in what you're doing and not change for anybody.
Well, I'm hoping to rediscover a catalog of his recordings. I mean, obviously, I'm going back and listening to two songs that I got very familiar with. With Awake, I heard them multiple times over the years, but I'd like to discover Channel and maybe if you did Her Own Hands ever do any real recordings besides demo tapes?
Yeah,
I'd love to hear some of that music.
Yeah, Her Own Hands got we did actually 2 albums.
Okay.
One I have only a tape copy of, which is
Whoa.
the best one. I think it was called Picture, I think was the name of the album.
Okay.
And then we also have this one, which was this actually is the album. I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. This is the CD of it, but this one was the remastered one, and it's got all of our songs on it that we recorded in a major studio. Matter of fact, it was in Orange County.
Okay.
I think it was called Desert Moon Studios.
Okay.
And great recording. We did a great job on it, and that was So we have that one. Channel. There are recordings. Todd MacKenzie is still active, as far as I know. I do talk to him from time to time, but he is no longer in the actual secular music world. Since I believe last time I talked to him, he's been playing for a church out of Lake Elsinore. And I've actually tried to bring him back into the country stuff that I'm doing now. Sure. And we just haven't been able to meet up yet, but there's a possibility that we actually might reunite.
That'd be awesome.
And do this again. And he may have actually more because he's the one that recorded the stuff. So he may actually have a lot more.
That'd be great to hear. Yeah. And if it's any of it's online, I'd like to share it. Either I'll put it here in the podcast or I'll link to it once we start getting our social medias up and running. We'll put links to everything. And I've found you all over the place. I found Ashley as well. But like it's hard to find bands that were around for this blip in time of the mid '90s. And it was nice to see that you had continued on to Channel like 8 years later, 6, 7, 8 years later. But it sounds like you've played just prolifically all over the place. It's really nice meeting you.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad you've kind of broke the ice here with like, what is it like nowadays to meet people that have played back in the day? But
Right now, the Orange County scene for us it's gotten really good. It's actually grown a lot. We're good friends with Redneck Rodeo, and they are probably the number one cover band that does country music out of Orange County right now.
all right.
And so we just got done playing the Westwood Coast and Costa Mesa, which is a great place to go. It's got good food and it's just a great venue. We'll be playing there again coming up soon. We're playing the Gala in Anaheim coming up. We're playing Boots on Main in Irvine. We just have so many great Orange County gigs coming up. So, yeah, so I'm just looking forward to seeing how well we do this year.
No kidding.
In that, and working with those kinds of bands like Redneck, who does a great job with promoting Ashley, and we kind of help each other now, which is back in the day you did, but not really.
I think we were all trying to make it big back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll play any gig anywhere, anytime. Oh, you're playing there? Can we play? You know, like our band would like, you know, and that's kind of how I met so many people. And at one point, like I said, I wanted to start a record label. I knew so many groups that were so good. Like when I opened Vitamin L, like all these I would call it like an off, like if we were in New York and doing a Broadway show, it'd be like, there's the Broadway acts and then the off Broadway, and we were all off Broadway.
Yeah.
And like you'd be lucky to get 20 people to come see you, and you probably knew 19 of them. And but by the end of the day, if you were good, that was the thing I remember. I'll never forget when I opened, because they were so tight and so good. And our band was an alt rock band opening for a punk band, and the punk show didn't even start until 10 o'clock. We were off stage by 8. You know, like the opening acts may not have anything to do with the closing acts. And I just remember that night my car got walked on by one of their fans. And I thought, well, I got to get out of here. This is starting to get dark and dangerous. I got to be home before sunset in some of these shows. But so where can we find Ashley's music? I'll put a link up there, obviously.
Yeah.
And your social media, should we is it Mirko Plays Music, or should we just post to your Instagram or your YouTube channel?
Mirko is the guitar player that she plays with every so often. He's a great artist as well. I'm just Bill Holmes Drummer 74.
Okay.
Most people can just find me through that. Obviously through Ashley's page. So yeah, I mean, she's all over the internet.
Okay. And AshleyFeltonMusic.com. Last thing, can I read what Mark wrote here, or did you? Okay,
please.
So what he wrote, and I could share it to you here. Let me see if I can share.
Slate Grey. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, Slate Grey and the song "Bye," but that's the.
Yeah.
You could see.
I remember.
Yeah, so you can see the album art there.
That's cool. Man.
Yeah, Awake is a relatively brand spanking new band. Todd and I began writing music together in the summer of 1995. My previous band, Her Own Hands, had unraveled, how he put it, and we were excited about starting something new. It didn't take us long to find our sound. Todd grew from his gospel blues style piano background and his intimate love of circus music. I think they were being coy about that. I drew from a folk rock and sometimes quirky pop acoustic guitar background. Together, we're happily rebelling against the grunge, angst-driven alternative rock bands that are proliferating like sea urchin. I hope you enjoy our songs. And then members Mark Rhodes, vocals, guitars, harps, and MacKenzie. Yeah, he did play the harmonica on "Bye." That's a great song.
Sure did.
And then so Awake, he had a P.O. box in Anaheim there and his phone number. And he actually did have an AOL email and a website. Look at that, AOL.com.
Yeah.
Mr. Mark.
He was ahead of he was so smart. You know, a lot of our marketing, a lot of what we did came from him. He just really was that guy. He was special when it came to that stuff. Because none of us, I mean, especially me, I was so young, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just happy to be in a band.
Let me see if I can stop.
You almost needed a guy. I almost needed a guy like him to kind of be at the helm, you know, because if you had me at the helm, we would have ran that thing right into the brick wall. So he was great.
I found him you know, obviously I was very talented. I was attracted to the music first, and then to meet the guy behind the guy was interesting for me. But honestly, I never ended up having a super long personal relationship. It was like everything was just going in all directions, and
Fast.
yeah, fast. And it was like we had one concert that I think the end of the line for the Orange County Rock with a Twist of Lemon compilation was we were going to have a show after we did a CD release party. That was usually a good way to get all your fans to show up, as if you did a CD release party. And we did one show at Club 369, and that was it. And we all went our separate ways. And some of the bands kept recording and making music, and some didn't. And
Yeah, Ron, thanks for everything and reaching out to me, man. I
gotcha.
really appreciate you, man.
And if you do get a hold of Todd someday, send him my love and
I
pass him
will.
my email and let him know we're thinking about him. And God, it sounds like it'd be great if you guys got back together and played. That'd be
Well,
awesome.
yeah, my goal is for that to happen. I think we can make that happen. So I would plan on that maybe in the future, maybe even
Just
have
put
an
it out there
interview.
in the universe, right?
Yeah, I think him and I could definitely talk to you, and he, him and I in the room talking about this stuff. He may bring up even better
Oh,
stuff
that'd be awesome.
because him and Mark spent a lot of time together,
Uh huh.
more than even I did at that point because it was just them two.
Yeah, and
So
I didn't meet Todd except for maybe in passing or at a show. And Mark was really my contact for the album. So
sure,
let him know that, hey, I'm still out here doing my thing. And
yeah.
this is a relatively new project. We decided instead of opening a venue, maybe we'll do the podcast first, develop an audience, and then
Mhm.
maybe if we open a venue someday, all the bands that I've talked to, let's do some shows.
Oh man,
And
you'll
yeah.
have no problem with that.
Yeah,
So
100%. So my ultimate goal would be to open a venue either at the Tustin Legacy area of Tustin, or if we can get that Encore Theater reopened and just have another stage, another place for people to get together and play and
oh man,
enjoy
I'm
music.
I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna pray that happens for you, man, because
All
that'd
right.
be great.
Yeah, my friend said, "Look, that's a mountain. You haven't even started hiking yet."
Yeah.
So, all right. Take care, Bill.
All
It
right.
was really great talking to you, and I'll
All right.
be sure to stay in touch.
I have a poem that we wrote. I think actually Todd might have wrote it. I don't remember, but it was written for Mark, and we basically sang it and did it for him at his funeral.
Uh huh.
And I don't think I've read this in a long time, but
I had originally met Mark Rhodes, your singing partner, and I assume you guys wrote
Yeah.
music together. And so part
Oh
of
yeah.
this interview, I'm hoping we'll talk about Mark, and we'll
Mhm.
talk about his early passing, which was a shock to me to
Mhm.
see that he had passed in 2010. And I had
Mhm.
already had a chance to catch up with your drummer Bill Holmes, who
Yeah.
he had some great stories about you guys winning in your boy band days,
Yeah.
and winning what was it, the best alternative rock band?
Uh,
What did you win?
it was for electronic rock.
Electronic rock at the
Hmm.
2003 Orange County Music Awards, which I told him, I said,
Yeah, that's right.
besides the Grammys, I had no idea you guys gave awards to bands. I mean, I didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah, it was kind of a interesting thing too. It was I want to say it was the Orange County Music Connection magazine
Mm-hmm.
that sponsored it with a couple of other honestly, God, this is terrible. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
Uh the I just remember that for some reason Disney had a part in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Which is strange because the lady that created the awards, she actually did a lot of the ceramic art
Mm.
over at the downtown Disney, and so they were just a part of like pushing the arts and the music scene and just anything creative in Orange County. And this is also too, and like the House of Blues was over at Disney,
Yeah.
actually on the property, separate now. Of course, they've moved to the a different location over there, but which I have not been on that stage
Yeah,
yet.
it's
But
unbelievable. It's
I've
like
yeah.
I think it's like a 5-story promenade, and it's like on the upper floors, which is really weird because
Yeah.
you pull in on the ground level to park, then you get in the elevator to go up to the venue. I think
Mhm.
Jelly Roll was playing there the last time I went over to the Hard Rock.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Disney was probably involved because of the connection to the Grove.
Oh yeah,
Which
that's right. Boom, right
which I
there.
think is where it was. But anywho, that
Mhm.
was pretty awesome to see that you guys had continued on your musical journey. Obviously,
Absolutely.
I'm glad you didn't peak with the Orange County Rock with the Twist Lemon compilation. But when I met Mark, he was actually playing in Her Own Hands. So were
Yes.
you keyboard? So what did you play? Can you talk about your experience with Her
So
Own Hands?
yeah, so it started with me before Her Own Hands,
Mhm.
but just barely because I was so young. All the rest of the guys were way older than me, and we started in the band called Exit, which was right before Her Own Hands,
Okay.
and then Her Own Hands was like kind of the one that kind of got everything started really. Um, uh, it's interesting because I was already playing with kind of scenarios at the time, and I was also so young that I couldn't really get into the clubs or stay in the clubs um,
Yeah,
with
Bill said
everybody
the same
else.
thing. Bill said like when you played the
Yeah.
Roxy or when you
Oh
played
yeah.
the Whiskey, like you guys would have to stay outside after you were done playing. But he said it was a lot more fun
That's right.
to be in the tour
That's
bus
right.
or the
And
party
I remember
bus.
even that's right. And I remember even doing Club 369. Do you remember that place
That's
out
where we
there?
had
And
our
was
CD
it
release
your?
party. Was at Club 369.
That's where it was,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. And I remember that even 369, which is not the, be all of clubs, would even make me wait outside, which is
Wow.
so
Well,
funny.
well, then there was
And
we used to
or,
jam at a lot
yeah,
of the all ages clubs. Like on Sunday, for instance, we played at a
yeah,
bar in Santa Ana, a bar, but it
uh-huh,
was an all ages
yeah,
day because it was on Sunday,
mhm,
and so all the all
for
ages
sure.
bands, and there was a lot of
Right.
those young bands, those
Hmm.
punk and ska bands that were all teenagers, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
were the elder statesmen, 25, 26, 27. We would come in and we'd try to entertain these young punks with our alternative rock, and they'd be boo,
Yeah.
matter of fact, I told a story about the one night we opened for One Eye Open and Vitamin L.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
was some punk and ska show, and we were the early
Yeah.
openers. And by the end
Sure.
of the night, some of their audience members had walked on my car, or one of them, and left footprints on my car. And I thought, okay, it's time to get out of
Good
here.
times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good times right
Um,
there. Yeah.
so so Todd, can you talk about your time playing with Mark and your musical project Awake, or was this kind of a spin-off of Her Own Hands, or how did you guys get
So,
together and start performing?
so basically, Awake was kind of the in between. So it was the bridge between Her Own Hands and then the band Channel. Uh, and it was interesting because I don't recall really because I wasn't like a full-fledged Her Own Hands member, so to speak.
Hmm.
So because I was off and on for keys with them, and it was more of a guitar fronted scenario.
Yeah,
Everybody played guitar, obviously live bass, and in fact, that bass back there was from that band.
nice.
And yeah, and I think it even has Her Own Hands sticker still on there somewhere. I think it's on the back side of it, but yeah,
That's great.
I know on the case for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, so that's kind of it was the in between, and it was interesting because they kind of split as a full-time group, and I had continued with Mark, and really just kind of wanted to bring more of an ambient scenario because Mark's voice was. I want to say it was unique, and yes, it was unique,
it didn't
but
match
it
his
had a
physique. Like,
familiarity,
yeah, he's like
right?
a skinny guy, and he's got like
Yeah,
this kind of surfer. I
yeah,
loved your bleached blonde tips and stuff, and then all of a sudden this raging
yeah,
massive voice comes out of him,
yeah,
a
yeah,
powerful voice. I really enjoyed that part of the singer. I'm like, this, wait, is that him singing? That's how I felt when
yeah,
I first discovered you
yeah.
guys, and I was pretty impressed with his vocals, but also the way Bill put it was his angst. He'd work all day. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
a computer guy too for my
yeah,
career, and so he would build up all day long, doing the 8 to 5, and then let it out at night for the shows. So
yeah.
I'm sure that was a
Right.
lot of fun. Can you talk about
He
maybe
he had
your
actually quite the temper too.
That's good to know. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I seem like I'm happy and jolly here, but God, if things don't go wrong. Um,
Yeah.
can you go into like maybe how you guys collaborate when it comes to writing music? Who was in charge of that? Was
Sure.
this like an Elton John, Bernie Taupin
So,
thing?
well, it's interesting because in the beginning, we kind of went off of stuff that he had started with Her Own Hands. He had had a couple of songs that were not completed,
Hmm.
that he just kind of started showing me like his progressions, and he had already had lyrics to some things that weren't actually recorded or put down yet, that Her Own Hands was going to do, didn't do. And I believe it was like 3 songs
Hmm.
that we started with. And so it kind of went from that point on. I One of the, I guess, things that was given to me in life was I write all the time.
Oh, good.
So I can sometimes pump out 2 solid tracks,
No kidding.
sometimes a day.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Wow.
I'm not a lyricist. I can't do lyrics. So
Okay.
I was very dependent on a vocalist. And so he and I worked really well together.
Yeah.
It was, and with the technology at the time, we were able to do a lot with what we had. And I think I was using like a Kurzweil K2VXS, if I recall, and it had a sequencer in it, and that's basically how we started putting together a lot of the stuff. And then we would just kind of import some of our own stuff into Mark's computer, and it's literally one step at a time. And even though we had already done live stuff together, this is where we really started kind of getting more technical with it,
Hmm.
and being a little bit more focused on what we wanted to put down. And Mark was really great with not only lyrics, amazing words. Uh, uh, Even I think a lot of bands nowadays, just really, really awesome. I think he had a master's in English, also uh, something else. I can't recall exactly.
Hmm.
I think he went to the Illinois State, did something with literature, and so I'm an idiot compared to that guy.
Oh,
Like he knew all that stuff,
well, and he was not a
and
bad
I was
harmonica
more
player.
on to whatever I heard.
Yeah, and he was not a bad
Yeah, which
harmonica
is
player either.
strange nowadays, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's not one of those things that's common with a lot of bands, an alternative or any kind of like dark rock or electronica or anything like that. It's kind of a unique skill to have. But yeah, he was just a wordsmith for sure. He could put together some of the most beautiful lyrics I can recall. Um,
So the band Channel kind of came out of the band Awake, and Bill joined you as the drummer.
mhm,
Was it just a three-piece
that's
then?
right.
And for
It was.
Bill shared a story on stage at the Orange County Music Awards where you had kind of kicked maybe something had gotten kicked, and he was following along to the drum track or the click track, and that it was just all falling apart live on
Yeah,
screen. Or I mean, I can't
we
imagine
had
live on stage.
so I was using a multi-track backtrack with what we played live,
Uh huh.
and we also had it lined up with a visual. I had it in sync with video as well,
Oh, whoa,
and
full production.
yeah, and so this is, yeah, it was something, but and I always had my trigger pedal for start and stop next to my sustain pedal,
Oh, gotcha.
and yeah. It's so we're up there playing, and everything's going great, and you're really getting into it and stuff. And I tapped the pedal, and I realized I tapped the pedal, and I had to tap it real fast again. But unfortunately, it was that one beat off where beat off, and that one click that was just far enough to where
Oh
it
no.
was going to make a problem for
Ooh.
live percussion. And I'm just like, do. Okay, here we go. Come on, Bill, catch up, catch up, catch up. And then Mark literally just turned around, and I'm like, oh no, here it goes.
Oh gosh. And
And
then
so
you
and
still
he
got the award.
even,
Luckily the
yeah,
voting was already
yeah.
over for the awards.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
No kidding.
So
Well,
that was one Bill took for me.
Yeah, he said that was an adventure, definitely a memory. And then, of course, I
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
picture of you guys, and we'll share the picture on the podcast. I've
Mm.
already edited his portion. So Bill has gone on to continue to play, in
Sure.
a country group. He's playing for
Hmm.
Ashley Felton. He's her backup drummer, and also he's
Yeah.
played for other groups. Where did
Mm.
your musical journey take you after Channel? Is this the early 2000s, the aughts or whatever they call it, 2004, 2005?
Yeah.
Where were you at
Yeah.
when it came to the Orange County music scene, or did you
Well,
continue
I
on
had
playing by
already.
yourself?
Yeah, so there was a change that happened there between Wake and Channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know if uh, you don't know much probably about Mark's past as far as his family and all that stuff. Anyhow, he and I went through kind of a similar thing. My dad had passed away during that time.
Hmm.
So I was just kind of destroyed around that time. I ended up leaving for I moved to France for a little while. And but I wasn't just out there just for me. I had a possible contract that I was going to do. And this is funny. This is something where kind of hard to explain. Family members of mine, my Aunt Mimi, she's was from Paris, knew Richard Clayderman very well. I don't know if you know who that is,
No.
but he was
Mm-mm.
like the most well-known loved piano player from France that
Wow.
David Letterman used to have him on all the time.
Oh, awesome.
Anyhow, he was with Delphine Records.
Mm-hmm.
I went out there to see if I would possibly one of his writers, because his producer wanted him to have original stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I was fresh off of going to High School of the Arts in La Salle. So I went to an art school during that time, graduated from there. Father passed away. Awake had already started. But then I came home, and that's when Channel started. Uh, Before then, as well, too, I also played for other players. I played for Bo Diddley. I
Wow.
played with, gosh, because of High School of the Arts, I ended up playing with quite a few people actually.
This was all in the late
Anyhow,
late 90s and early 2000s.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So, it was just a really good time musically. I ended up doing some stuff with John Mayer, from Social Distortion, before he retired.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, they just announced a tour. That was
and
our big news from
yeah.
last week. Was they're gonna go back on tour this year?
I remember telling John that it's funny. I remember telling John that you guys should have some sort of like keyboardist doing like Hammond work or something, or Rhodes or something.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, "Oh yeah, Mike's not going to go for any of that." And guess what he has now?
No kidding. No kidding.
He's got a keys player every once in a while. Yeah, so it's the
Well,
funniest thing to see.
that's great. And now I'm a drummer. I grew up in Orange County, and
Yeah,
I stayed in Orange
yeah,
County until my
yeah.
dad passed, and that led me
Mhm,
in. Let's see, he had his heart attack in 2002, and
mhm,
died that summer. And that was also the same year that I moved away to Kansas. So I spent 14 years in Kansas, and I got
mhm,
involved in whatever country music scene they had going there. But
mhm.
the truth
Yeah,
is my biggest highlight from that journey, because I was there for 14 years,
yeah,
was I got involved in
right.
the 4th of July Music
Mhm,
Festival. And,
mhm,
4th of July Independence Day celebration, which I turned into a music
right,
festival, like hiring bands
right.
and let's do talent shows and let's get all the great performers to come to town. And
Yeah,
what I was going to say is the way Bill explained it, like you guys were big overseas. Like my furthest I
yeah.
journeyed away from Orange County was Kansas. It sounds like you made it
Sure.
over to Europe, and you guys were actually well
Yeah.
received over there.
So we ended up doing, this was a channel.
Uh huh.
We were the opener for the Mission UK, Wayne Hussey, and I don't know if you know who Wayne Hussey is,
No,
but
don't know the name. Mm-mm.
he used to be the lead guitarist, and I think writer with Sisters of Mercy,
Okay.
and vocalist. Um, and so then he started his own group, and I mean, they were pretty big actually,
Mm-hmm.
but they've played with everybody themselves, and it was kind of that whole kind of a goth crowd,
Okay.
and like the Cure style, and like Echo and the Bunnymen, and you know kind of that range
So Todd, let's go back into your journey around Europe. It sounded to me like you were you got to play with a lot of different great performers. What
Mhm,
was
mhm.
I guess what was the highlight there, and what was Mark's involvement in all of your journey over there?
Well, Mark was the lead
Yeah,
singer for Channel, of course. Yeah, no, we had written quite a few songs, and it was awesome. I mean,
yeah,
we got to play places that on our own, without that link to the mission, we wouldn't have been able to do.
gotcha.
And one of the stages being Rock City, Nottingham, and that place was phenomenal. That stage was huge. You could jog on that
No
stage,
kidding.
and places like Zeppelin and our people like Zeppelin and bands, sorry, like Zeppelin,
Yeah, yeah.
and other majors, the Stones. Everybody's played there,
Wow.
and our first time there was just shocking. So that was phenomenal. But in Europe, for some reason, we just had a really good go over there, and I was totally grateful for it. I mean, it's different how people react to music
Hmm.
overseas than they do in your own home town.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
I found, and obviously I just started this podcast, so with my co-host or partner Alex Rodriguez, he was
Mhm,
a lead singer
mhm,
songwriter for the band Bread Circus, and they were from San Diego.
mhm.
But I've known him since he was in 8th grade, so we grew up together. So Alex and I
Right.
will be hosting a lot of episodes, discovering new music. And after
That's
this
great.
retrospective of going back over what was it like in the mid '90s in Orange County, it sounded
Hmm.
to, and the Orange County music scene was absolutely nuts in the mid '90s, obviously with all the punk and
Sure
ska
was.
bands. Growing up in Orange County, you said you went
Hmm.
to the School of the Arts, musical school.
So
Was
yeah, it was Los Alamitos High School. It had
okay,
two. One was just the high school. The other one, Los Alamitos High School of the Arts.
okay. So it was
County, sorry,
focused
High School of the Arts.
at an early
It's
age.
known as yeah.
Okay, so at an
Hmm.
early age, you really were wanting to become a live. Were you wanting to become a
Yes.
composer, or were you wanting to become a performer, or what brought you to that musical journey?
Uh, well, because yeah, I've played piano my whole life.
Gotcha,
I don't even remember when I started. I know it was little. I think I played for my church when I
gotcha.
was 7 for the first time. So
No
it was
kidding.
it's
That's way early.
long. Yeah, it's been a long time, and uh, it's strange to think that, but it's yeah, it's been a long time. Played my whole life. I think that Orange County really brought up some amazing musicians, and there's a lot of people that never even got the chance to be heard. I had friends that were awesome players,
Yeah.
and I went to going to high school of the arts. I went there for composing and for performance.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Well, and the Orange County music scene back in the day, I do remember
Mhm,
traveling up to LA a lot and going to see bands
mhm.
perform at the Whiskey or the Roxy. And a matter of fact, I
Yep,
think I saw Her Own Hands play at the Roxy. I know for sure I
yep.
saw you guys play at the Doll Hut, because that's also where I
Oh yeah.
discovered Glenn Meredith
Hmm.
and the band All the Madmen.
Sure,
And so
sure.
going up to LA, I went up recently for my brother's birthday. We went to the comedy store, obviously for stand up comedy, and I
Sure.
noticed that it. I mean the Roxy and the Sunset Strip there. They have the
Oh
Rainbow
yeah.
Room and they have the Viper
Yeah.
Room and they have all those,
Yep.
but the whole place looks like it's abandoned. I mean, it's really
It
unbelievable
is
that even the LA
sad.
scene, it is really
Mhm,
sad. But the Orange County venues, and this will be part of this podcast. We'll be reviewing what's going on down here in the current Orange County music scene. Besides
mhm,
playing at the local coffee shops and bars where they occasionally, I discovered there's a place down in Lake Forest called I
mhm,
think it's called Our Place, that
mhm,
Brandy from Storage Wars. She and her husband at the time bought this place, and they have
mhm,
live groups play there all the time, mostly cover
mm.
bands. But I used
Right.
to jam at a place called the Rockfield Tavern 2 days a
Mhm,
week. They had open jam nights, and that was down in Lake Forest. And then I would also go down
mhm.
to Laguna Beach. I think on
Right.
Tuesdays at the Sandpiper Sand Runner or whatever it was, and they would have open
Mhm,
night jam nights. So
mhm.
what are you up to these days with the Orange County music scene? Are you still living here in Orange County? What's your journey like these days? I heard that you had kind of switched from secular music to more of playing with the praise band or something like that. Are you still making music? Are you still performing live these days?
Yeah, I play all the time. And I do play for my church.
Hmm.
We've got a pretty good, actually really great music team for Cornerstone out in Wildomar.
Great.
And yeah, it's awesome. It's weird. I would, if the people are good and the music is good
Hmm.
and people are really, there for the creativity of it, I'll play anywhere. And
That's
in
great.
fact, I wish it was the way it was back in the 90s and, through the 2000s and early 2000s, really.
Hmm.
And because there's so many cool things that were happening. I do know though now that I can choose who I want to play with,
That's great.
and
Yeah. Yeah, this is
and
great.
before it was just kind of, yeah, when you're coming up, you're just like, hey, can I play with you guys or sit in? I don't care anymore. I just, if it sounds good, then great. I can do what I do, and if you want that, that's awesome. If not, then that's cool too.
That's great.
I'm fine.
Now, are you publishing any of this stuff online? Are you trying to get your Spotify viewers, your YouTube channel, or what are you working on when it
I
comes to getting your music out there to the world?
I have no media presence.
Wow. We called it a
I
digital footprint the other day. There's no digital footprint
Yeah,
for Todd MacKenzie?
sure. You'll find it in feature film,
No kidding.
because
Okay.
that's the other thing I've done for the past, I don't know, 25 years is I'm a dubbing engineer, and
Wow.
I've got some credits up on IMDb, and I've done quite a few things,
Excellent.
but yeah, if from Nickelodeon to HBO to whatever. I mean, it's up, and also too, one of the things Mark and I had started, we actually started a library just for that as well, for publishing and mechanical royalties and all that stuff, and it had done pretty good for us. I haven't done anything to that library in years.
No kidding.
I have put out a couple of other libraries specifically for that, but nowadays that's a whole other topic. Well, it's interesting because you make the comment about like being the rock star and stuff, and while I consider we were nobody, but the thing is that we wanted the mood in the room,
Hmm.
and I think that's the whole purpose of music. It's either your perspective on life, your point of view creatively,
Hmm.
but it's the mood in the room, and to really make people feel uh, some sort of way. One, either they just think it's total garbage and they really want to go vomit outside, and some would do that, uh, but usually because of what they're drinking. But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the other side of it is that you have people that literally come up and ask you questions like, "Oh, that was what was this all about? Like, why did this come about? These words or
Hmm.
the sound?" We had a song that we did later on, that was literally a harpsichord, a bass, and his vocal with some just kind of some ambient padding,
Hmm.
and it was interesting because we got so many questions, and that was especially because it was also very gothy too,
Hmm.
from anybody that would come to one of the shows or bought the CD or had happened to hear about it, things like that where it's just odd, Mark playing harmonica, at an electronic show.
Yeah.
Who does that? But it sounded so cool the way everything worked together, and it's just, I think, taking things and kind of turning them on their head and utilizing the tools that you have just creatively without worrying about how many people really are going to be there. It's great to have a lot of people,
Yeah.
but when you've got the sound system, it's you and the sound system, and that's your friend right there. And if it's done right, it's amazing the experience, and then we'll pull anybody in if everything is going the way you've heard it and the way it's being played out.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm explaining it right,
Oh
but
no,
it's just that mood in the room.
I get it, the vibes. It's more of a
Yeah,
vibe thing, but like Ken
sure.
Ken explains that he actually caught on a recording just on a boombox in the back of the room, one of their shows. And
Hmm.
Ken
Hmm.
is a singer songwriter for Bread Circus, and
Hmm.
the way he tells it is there was this one song that he played. It was the very first time they played it live, and they hit a
Hmm.
break in the end of the song, and the crowd screams and everybody goes crazy.
Hmm.
And then he's like, at that moment, he realized that he was connected with the room. Let me
Hmm.
switch gears to tell one quick story. I
Yeah.
the lead singer for the band Hot Monkey Love, Rick Fallon,
Hmm.
he came to see our band perform or play. We were practicing in the garage, and Rick
Hmm.
Fallon came up and was going to jam with us. And so it was back in the day. It was like, you were saying about hooking up with other musicians and performing with
Hmm.
them and going and play with them and
Yeah.
practicing with them. Well, my experience with Rick was amazing. He came up, we played all of our songs. We had like probably 23 songs, so it was an all
Hmm.
day affair. And then
Sure.
Rick says at the end, my lead singer, my bass player go inside, and Rick was saying, well, "Do you want to play some of my songs?" And I go, "What? Never heard them, but yeah, I'd love it." And so I stayed behind the drums, and he was, guitar and singing. We played 25 of his songs, I think, that afternoon. And he would give me
Yeah.
like an idea for the beat, and I would
Yeah.
play. I'd
Yep.
keep the beat, and there's no recording of it. There's no video.
Hmm.
Well, certainly, we didn't
Hmm.
live stream it. We didn't have our cell phone cameras back in the mid '90s.
Right.
And I tell the story, and I got really choked up the other day when I thought about that was just him and I, two musicians communicating through our instruments and for
Hmm.
each other by ourselves. And
Yeah.
it was kind of a spiritual thing for me, the motions of the whole deal,
Hmm.
of like
Yeah.
being able to keep up with another guy and communicate through, nonverbal communication. This is through music.
Yep.
And so,
Yeah.
and I hate to keep telling this story online. I'll probably edit a lot of this out. That my connection to music, my connection to quote the industry of music,
Hmm.
was I started out as a fan. And obviously, wanting to be in a band was like every band I saw, I go, wow, I'd love to play with them someday. I'd love to be on stage with
Hmm.
them. And the truth is like I probably could have played any kind of music at any time. I did try out for
Hmm.
No Doubt when I was 17, and I would drag my drums down to a church in Anaheim, and I remember they were looking for a new drummer, and this was when I was 17 years old,
Yeah.
and set up my drum set. I started to get a little warmed up, and then I remember Gwen very specifically saying to me, "Well, it's kind of like country, only fast," because I had never really heard of ska music. And so she goes, "Just keep a beat and just keep up with it." And of course, I'm a blues and jazz drummer. John
Sure.
Bonham's my hero, and I I go, "Okay, well, I'll see what I can." And then I couldn't keep up. It was just too much for me, and it was like
Hmm.
it but it's not that I didn't love the music, because I
Yeah.
immediately went back to all my friends in high school and said, "Oh my God, I tried out for this amazing band. No doubt you're going to hear about them
Yeah.
someday." And if that was
Yeah.
1987, now imagine it took them 5, 6, 7 more years of
Yeah.
tweaking and finding the right performers, and obviously
Hmm.
they became who they became. But I'll
Yep.
never forget rubbing elbows with some of the Orange County musicians back in the day, and I think that's where I get my passion for this podcast is
Hmm.
telling. Let's scoop into some of these stories with people that maybe don't have that
Yeah.
digital footprint. Like we don't know what Todd McKenzie's been up to unless we somehow we knew you, we were connected with you. In
Hmm.
other words, like
Yeah.
for me, looking up Mark Rhodes and trying to find you guys, the journey that led
Yeah.
me to this conversation today. But would you
Hmm.
mind spending just a couple minutes talking about what Mark meant to you, and then we'll close it out there for this episode?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Mark was the first person in my life that I was able to musically just throw anything I had at him. And he would, uh, poor guy, he would
yeah.
have to take all this stuff and it would usually be on tape. And I would, throw him a bunch of tapes, or I'd say, hey, let's meet up at the studio and let's hear what I've got.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there was like today, I have a folder, it's the suck folder
Oh no.
that I don't show anybody.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm sure he had to listen to plenty of that and
Oof.
was just like, all right, well, we'll see if we find something good. But yeah, he was the one person I could throw all of that at, and he was a great manager of thoughts.
Mm.
He was super creative, could really focus in on what was good about what was being presented, and then he would attack it.
Mm-hmm.
He would say, "Okay, I like this progression right here. Let's put this down." So we'd usually do like a skeleton recording of something and put it down, and then he'd take it home and then start writing lyrics, or maybe he already had a lyric. I would usually do that too if he came in and you would start strumming a little bit, but he had lyrics mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, it was just so much fun to just have those nights where, he and I had no responsibilities other than write, just to create. And, it's funny too, because if today it was like that, oh my gosh, it would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just a very well thought out writer. He knew how to focus, and he would just go there. And his words were very, well, beyond me, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But when he would explain what he was talking about and some of the stuff, I was like, that's really cool. Like how he would match certain lyrics up. But just the words he would use, very descriptive. And I mean, we did a song in Channel called "Cold Metal Dream," and it was about technology, but not the way he wrote it out.
Yeah.
And it was really great, kind of funny, but also serious as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he could go both sides in one song. But Wake was such a quick period, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if it was 2 years time.
Yeah.
It might
Very
have been
short
like a
window.
full maybe year in some change. But it was mostly because my dad had passed and I left for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark understood it, and he had gone through that recently too at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a friendship, more of a brotherhood too, because I kind
Mm-hmm.
of looked at him like an older brother. He was there if I wasn't sure of something, or I could ask him anything, and he was always there. And he also too, he tried to keep me in line too. I was a heavy drinker,
Oh my.
and there's a lot of stuff I was using that not even he knew about.
Wow.
So yeah, so and I think he kind of knew, but he just tried to keep me on the focus and straight and narrow and stuff. And so he really kind of looked out for me as well. But yeah, he was just the nicest guy. He did have a temper, so like Bill was saying, it was that sitting in the office all day, and he would just come out raging
Yeah.
when we had a live show. Even one time, I remember it was probably not his most shining moment,
Oh
but
no.
it was kind of interesting to see because Mark wasn't a big guy, but he had something where the sound guy was just being a total d-bag,
Oh no.
and he kicked over one of the towers,
Oof.
like literally kicked the speakers off the side.
Mm.
And I'm like, "Ooh, Mark, you might want to walk away."
Yeah.
The guy was pretty pissed off, and but it wasn't a regular thing. But he didn't hide his emotions. It came out in the music for sure.
Yeah. No kidding.
Um, and sometimes he would get in that mood where he would just change lyrics on the fly and talk about what was going on in the room. And
Wow.
yeah, it was quite impressive.
Well, did you get you? Bill said you probably have a whole lot of recordings and a whole lot of images and stuff. Is there something we could
Yeah,
share possibly either at the end of this podcast
yeah,
or could we just put it on to the YouTube page at some point and just clip to it?
yeah. I still have to go through some of my
Yeah.
stuff.
And Bill was kind enough to share your poem that you had written for Mark for the
Oh yeah,
funeral. And
yeah.
did you actually sing that as a song, or did you play that as a song, or was
I
that just a poem?
I no, it was a song I gave the I played it one time for his funeral.
Mhm.
His get together is kind of his uh, what I don't know what you'd want to call it
Awake.
because it
Call it
wasn't
awake.
really
Was it awake?
awake essentially. Yeah, basically. And it was the words were very personal,
Sure.
and it was even hard for me to just listen to because the second I found out he died, in fact, his sister called me, and I thought she was kidding. I
Oh
even
my.
laughed when she said Mark's gone, and I'm like, oh, you're so full of it, like,
Mm.
because I had just spoke to him.
No kidding.
And yeah, and I saw him the day before,
Hmm.
and I talked to him in the morning, and I just spoke to him, and I'm like, that's bullshit. He's not gone.
Hmm.
And
Well,
she
and it
started
was.
crying, and
Let's be clear. It
yeah,
was it an aneurysm of his heart or his brain, or what was kind of in the aneurysm?
brain.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a brain
So it
aneurysm.
wasn't like an accident. It wasn't an overdose. It was just,
No,
it's time to
yeah,
go.
yep,
Mm.
yeah. So it was shocking, and I just remember just crying for hours,
Ugh, I can imagine.
because yeah, it was brutal. And he was all my he was my creative brother,
Okay.
and doing all this stuff together. And I felt like the only thing I could do, because I didn't have the words for it, was to just sit down and play.
Hmm.
And I started playing, and I don't know what provoked me to record it. I did.
Hmm.
And then I started, I don't know, that whole night I just recorded. I wrote lyrics for it,
Yeah.
which is the poem.
Yeah.
And yeah, just talking about basically, you could fly again. You're free of all this.
It was beautiful.
Just let it.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was kind of a rocket ship. It sounds like. In other words, to go young at
Hmm.
a high speed. Obviously, things were cranking
Yeah.
along, and to just
Yeah.
flame out like that.
Yeah.
To me, honestly, I feel like I'm holding on. Like I say, maybe I got 4 more years here, and then maybe the asteroid is going to come take us out. Who knows what's going to happen? And I go, it's never too late. I'm in
Yeah.
obviously late 50s, mid 50s, whatever you want to call it. And I'm thinking,
Hmm.
who's going to start a podcast at this time? And I go, well, it's better late than never. Everybody started it during COVID. Everybody had a podcast when it was trendy. I'm going to start a
Sure.
podcast when it's at the last chapter of the final inning. And, look, we're holding on to that dream. And of course, the
Yeah.
retrospective of 30 years later, people are going to be
Mhm.
like, what are you talking about? But music
Right.
is eternal.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot of younger bands nowadays, they're looking to recreate a sound. And it's funny because,
Hmm.
like, before us, where there were bands that we followed,
Yeah.
and through the 80s, and that sound is something that we had to create. We didn't have a lot of the technology that is available now.
Hmm.
So I can go up to a synth and I can tweak it and it'll sound like that.
Yeah. Or
A
sample
lot
it.
of people.
Now it's just a digital download. Boom, you got the sample, the actual recording.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I think that you know, promoting something like this, and even doing some events where you bring people that have maybe inspired others,
Yeah.
younger ones nowadays, to
Well,
do
in
what
the
they're doing.
stories
That'd be a
behind,
great.
I mean, we all tried to work and have jobs and also play in music. And
Sure.
some of the musicians were gifted and
Hmm.
obviously went
Hmm.
to early on in their journey of music, like discovering like, hey, this is
Yep.
going to become a career. A lot of us just stumbled
Sure.
into it, saying it was all I was
Sure.
ever good at. In high school, it was all I was ever good at was playing the drums, and you know
Right.
and also computers and technology. So it was fun that Mark got in that too. But it was
Hmm.
ironic for me because once I got the job in the IT business, I can afford to be a musician. And so for
Yeah.
me, it was
Right.
like buying new gear and buying microphones and buying,
Yeah.
renting recording space or $40 an hour to actually go to the
Yeah.
studio.
That's right.
I mean, at the time, we were all just struggling on a budget. And while I was in
Hmm.
college, I remember jamming with my roommates. Like I set up the drums in the living room. He had an amp and a guitar, and we would just make music together. And the only people that listened
Yeah.
to it were the neighbors. Like we never recorded, but I couldn't wait
Right.
to get home from school or from church
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
play.
It's funny because Mark and I started doing channel stuff,
Hmm.
and well, the Awake and then channel in his living room.
Yeah.
we went from his living room to like Rock City, Nottingham, which is so weird. It's the strangest thing, so surreal.
Pretty quick journey, yeah.
Yeah, and it happened fast. It
Yeah.
really did happen fast.
Well, I'm glad you
And
got those experiences because, not
yeah,
everybody like, and I joke that I sold my drum set to pay the rent, but that's the truth, and the guy that
yeah,
bought it
I
from me,
know.
he says,
Hmm.
will you sign it? And I go, well, if I'm ever a famous drummer someday, maybe you could sell this back to me. Like, imagine that. And then to go into producing and ultimately my journey, back here towards the Orange County music scene was
Hmm.
simply, I'm using my skills. I'm learning the algorithm. We were joking that back in the day to try to get your recording on the radio was a big deal. Well,
Sure.
now to get the algorithm to pay attention to you, you have to feed
Yeah.
the beast. And I don't
Yeah.
know if I've sampled any of the episodes to you yet. I'll send them to you certainly.
Mhm.
I didn't want to spoil the Bill interview because I didn't want what he and I talked about to influence you. But you guys ought to get
Oh,
together
I
after.
saw it already.
Oh, did you? Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, he sent me the clip.
Oh gosh, okay. Well, so good. I'm glad you saw it. But if you notice,
Oh, Bill.
I'm using AI to help me
Yeah.
augment the
Mhm.
videos with music. I mean, the intro is
Sure.
custom
Sure.
and the outro is custom, and I just
Mhm.
can go on to AI. I'm on suno.com, like that's where I'm getting most of my stuff done. And I'm
Mhm.
typing in what I want it to say, and I'm highlighting our conversation and create me a song that's this and that. And I'm really impressed with how quickly AI works, but I'm also kind of not
Sure.
impressed. It can't pronounce the word Metallica. It doesn't understand descendants. It doesn't know how to pronounce some words. But what I found with
That's funny.
using AI is I can punch in my words into a online artificial musician and it will spit out a song instantaneous.
Hmm.
Like 45 seconds
Yep.
later, I get this
Yep.
song. And the way I'm utilizing it with this channel or with,
Hmm.
Orange County Music
Yeah.
Podcast is I'm using it for the graphics. I'm using it for the intros and outros and I'm exploring my digital development through this
Sure.
artificial intelligence. And we've done one
Yeah.
episode already dedicated to what AI is going to do to the music industry and
Hmm.
slash the movie industry slash the writing
Yeah.
industry slash script writing slash
Hmm.
book writing. Content in
Hmm.
general is going to become this artificial world that we're living in. We won't know what's real and what's not real. Have you delved into anything artificial? And
Well, yeah, and you could worst, at least the myself and some other people I do work with. You can tell sometimes that it's AI.
augmented at least, yeah.
And yeah, well, it's also too the quality. You can, you know, it, I don't know. There's a what do you want to call it?
It's the uncanny
Like
valley. Is it
sometimes,
called the uncanny valley of like it's kind of looks real, maybe it sounds real, but it's not real?
yeah,
Is that what they call that?
yeah, but there's always just a sound to it. There's a texture to it as well. But there's noise shaping when you're exporting a stem, and you could put a dithering on it, and basically it adds noise to your signal. Well, there's something in those AI stems that just has this kind of digital junk in it, and you can tell. It's
Yeah, if you
it's
have a
kind of weird. In
finely
fact.
tuned ear, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I just did a online commercial recently for what is it, a Medicare agency.
Hmm.
It's funny, but I had to literally let them know. I'm like, yeah, this was actually created. It wasn't AI.
Yeah,
So
no kidding, no
I
kidding.
had to, yeah.
And are you finding the values
So,
different? So you're still able to make money
yeah,
making music.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, no kidding.
definitely.
Okay, so that hasn't gone away yet. I am
No,
curious
no.
what'll happen over the next 6 months to a year because,
Hmm.
those billion-dollar corporations are pumping so much money into building their infrastructure that
Yeah,
I would be surprised that it
yeah.
doesn't get better. I mean, just in the last 2 years
Hmm.
alone, we've gone from
Hmm.
animations that have 7 or 8 fingers on each hand to like now
Right.
now all of a sudden it's like
Yeah.
photorealistic recreations of
Sure.
getting really incredible and really powerful. And
Sure.
I will explore that on this podcast for you, the audience, to know that we'll go into like how does this affect producing music? How does this affect writers? A
Hmm.
lot of the writers so far have told me that they use it as a kind of a collaboration tool. They hum an idea or they type in an
Sure.
idea, and it if you ever have writer's block or if you ever having trouble making music,
Yeah.
and you know this because obviously for
Mhm.
30 some years two of your what did you call it, your junk pile, your your
Oh yeah, I've got a total crap folder.
Yeah, your crap
Yeah.
folder, like two
Yep.
songs a day that end up in the crap folder, like you're going to spit out some hell amount of content. Like you're
Yeah.
creating a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
content.
Yep.
And to get one gem, to get one hit song, like
Hmm.
nowadays, and I just watched a long form podcast with Benny, Mr. Selena Gomez, right? Um, he talks about how he's written for
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
musicians and he's just spitting
Sure.
these things out like he's the hit
Hmm.
maker. And I just keep
Yeah.
thinking, I'm like, and I saw his studio, and by the way, his studio is almost as nice as your studio. um
Oh, this is.
but he's prolific, and to me it's like if
Yeah.
you can be it really is a skill. It's not artificial intelligence, it's actual musical intelligence. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
look forward to discovering more of your works. Honestly, I until today. I mean, when was the last
Yeah.
time we talked? One time in the last 30 years. So I look
Oh my
forward to
gosh. Yeah.
discovering more of
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely. I know, and it's funny too because when it's that long ago, yeah, I'm foggy. I am so foggy on songs even.
Oh,
Like
gotcha.
I hardly remember the Awake stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And even some of our early channel stuff, I do have recording files, just old CDs, and hopefully they haven't disintegrated.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But yeah, I've got tons of stuff. I don't even have a CD player anymore.
Well, I
So
had to
I mean,
buy
it's
one,
kind of one of
and
those things.
yeah, I had to
Yeah,
buy a generic one here just to get them
yeah,
converted. But luckily, I did find that
sure.
they were. I would, if you ever do create a good digital footprint, we'll be sure to sell it, or to sell it here, but to list it here,
Yeah.
to link it here. And the idea that you've got a treasure trove
Mhm.
of old music is like, it is.
Yep.
It's interesting because we used to. As a kids growing up, the new Stephen King novel would come out, and like my buddy Pat was
Sure.
really into Stephen King, and like then you look
Oh
and
yeah.
the guy wrote
Love it.
50,000 words in six
Oh
months or
yeah.
6 weeks, you never know.
Crazy.
And some of the best stories were created just in that instant thought, and then he writes this
Hmm.
giant opus. And so for
Hmm.
your musical journey, I'm sure is like, if this is a good idea, we're going to keep pursuing it. If not, trash it.
Right.
Let's start something new. So I will continue, obviously, my musical journey through this digital platform, and I will learn how to
Hmm.
do some interviews. I will talk less. I will ask better
That's great.
questions. I'm definitely going to upgrade my hardware and my equipment because a man needs his instrument.
There you go.
And at some point, I'm sure I'll send you a link to this once I get it all edited. Thanks for joining us
Looking
here on the
forward to
Orange
it.
County Music Podcast.
Thank you, Todd and Bill, for being on the OC Music Podcast with Alex Rodriguez and Ron Williams. It was so amazing to hear your stories about Mark Rhodes, one of the great singers and songwriters of his day. So happy his songs were on the Orange County Rock CD. We'll be sure to share his songs by and Slate Grey. His music will live on, his memory will live on. We know he is missed, he was such a gift. Her own hands and Awake sure were a lot of fun. So happy your band Channel 1, the best of Actrotic rock band in OC. Can't believe that was way back in '03. We'd love to see you two play. We could make that happen one day. And thank you for watching the OC Music Podcast. Please like and subscribe to help our audience grow. They can't call it YouTube without you and you and you. Thank you and good night.